Welcome to Hour 2 of the Charlie Kirk Show. I'm excited about our next guest. He has gone massively viral. He was also a frequent guest of the show and spoke with Charlie many, many times about COVID and the vaccines and some of the trials around there. He's now going viral again in a massive, massive story. That's Alex Berenson. He's an independent journalist. Unreported Truths Substack, so check him out there, or on X at Alex Berenson. Alex, welcome back to the Charlie Kirk Show. It's good to see you.
A little emotional for me, honestly, because the last time I was on, it was obviously with Charlie, and I'm really sorry, guys. I'm looking forward to seeing you both later this month, but I'm really sorry.
Yeah, well, people should know that I reached out to Alex. He's going to be at AMPFest, which is coming up December 18th to the 21st in Phoenix, Arizona. It's going to be a massive, massive event. And Alex, you're going to be we're going to be debating on the merits or lack thereof of marijuana. And Charlie loved talking to you about that. And so when we knew we were going to be doing a debate about marijuana, you were the first person I reached out to, and I was like, Alex, Charlie would want you there, and you were like, well, how do I say no to that? And
Alex was such a prophet. He was shilling against marijuana at the peak. Oh, it's no big deal, legalize it everywhere frenzy. And now opinions are turning back against it, and you really helped pave the way for that, Alex.
It's gonna be an interesting debate, but yeah, I am glad to see that. And I mean, it's funny with Charlie. Maybe it's because I was gonna text Andrew and say, maybe it's because he didn't go to college. Like his instincts were so good on so many things, and they were good on COVID, and they were good on the the mRNAs, and they were good on pot. Like he just got it. And so yeah, I'm happy to be there. And as you know, I couldn't say no. I was proud you guys invited me.
Well, we're grateful to have you, and I'm looking forward to seeing you, Alex. And you've got this huge story out. It's a huge bombshell allegation, and you can fill us in on the details. But your Substack, urgent: a young child died of cardiac arrest after being jabbed during Moderna's key COVID vaccine trial. What's going on here, Alex?
This is really interesting because I've been writing about the mRNAs for like 5 years, and that story is actually, believe it or not, I wrote it in January. Okay, and this is one of these things like I wrote it. I thought it was super important, and the Biden administration was still in office, and they didn't care. Moderna declined to comment, and the story got some attention a little bit then, but it mainly just sat there. But what happened is last Friday, the new FDA, the FDA under RFK Jr. and Trump, there's a guy named Vinay Prasad who's the head vaccine regulator, and he wrote a memo to his staff saying, we've reviewed a number of cases where vaccines were linked to deaths of children and teenagers aged 7 to 16. He said we've looked at 96 cases, and we found at least 10 where there's a real connection in the view of our reviewers. Okay, and we think there's a lot more than that, and there probably are a lot more, but we're being very conservative. We're saying there are these 10 deaths, so I went back and I said, look, guys, yes, there are a lot of deaths, but guess what? There was even a death of a child in Moderna's own trial, and they basically hid that for almost 3 years. They disclosed it in one place that I happen to know has like really comprehensive data, which is not the FDA. It's actually the European drug regulator. And they put it up there basically knowing that nobody was ever going to look at it. And I, because this is what I do, I spend my days reading databases, that nobody else is looking at. I found this. And so there was this death. And what's even worse, and they released sort of no specific information except saying that this was a preschool-age child, a 2 to 5 year old age child who suffered cardiorespiratory arrest and died. All right. So these vaccines were approved for children, both from Pfizer and Moderna in late 2021 and 2022. And there was a big giant push, with ad campaigns and every bit of legacy media and every public health person saying, go get your kids vaccinated. The data from these trials show that the vaccines did almost nothing to stop infections in kids. Okay, that's A. B, kids are at tiny risk of serious injury or death from COVID. And 3, when you actually look at the clinical trial data from the trials themselves, okay, you see that the kids who got vaccinated, who got the shots, had many more side effects. They had high fevers, they had, infections, they had pain. And in some cases, one weird thing is, for some reason, there seem to be diabetic complications sometimes from vaccines in kids, meaning you can actually see cases of type 1 diabetes, which is basically supposed to be a genetic disease, developing after vaccination in some kids from the mRNAs. And all this stuff was out there, and the FDA, the Biden administration, they did nothing about it. Places like the New England Journal of Medicine, they did nothing about this. It makes me so angry. No kids should have been vaccinated with this. And European countries, but really by 2022, they were much stricter about what they were doing for kids and young adults. But the vaccine fanatics in this country wouldn't let this go. And they have done so much damage because, look, I am in favor, and, maybe some people who are watching this are not, but I'm basically in favor of stuff like the measles vaccine. I think that's an important vaccine. And yes, there may occasionally be side effects, but it's much lower. We know how that works. And I understand there may be some parents who don't want to get their kids vaccinated against measles. But what we've done is frighten parents about all vaccines, frighten parents into not getting their kids routinely vaccinated, again, for stuff that might be more dangerous, with vaccines that work a lot better. And it's just disgusting to me.
Yeah, well, it's interesting. So I saw you responding to somebody on Twitter. This is a Jonathan Laxton, MD, said the death occurred in a child with chronic respiratory failure, 144 days post-dose, and was reported with the first results March 2025. It's not a vaccine death. I won't request an apology. And you said, nope, that's not the case. Could you reply to this guy? Two minutes left in this segment.
Absolutely. So this death happened in like 2020, late 2022, 2023. And what you need to know is that the only people who have the real information about what happened are inside the company, okay? And maybe an quote unquote independent investigator. But the way it works is the company takes the first pass and they say, you know what? We think that this child might have been sick before. And so we don't think the vaccine caused this. Guess what? That stuff that guy's talking about, that's at birth, okay? That's 4 years before. This child was healthy. And how do I know the child was healthy? Because the title of the trial is a vaccine trial in healthy children. They didn't want sick kids in this because they didn't want kids to get, vaccine injuries. And so, they wanted sort of the healthiest the healthiest possible population. And that's what they got. And so then what happens is when people get injured by the vaccine or by any drug in a clinical trial, the company running the trial is going to go out of its way to try to find other excuses for this. And by the way, this is not just a problem with Moderna. This is not just a problem with vaccines. This is a problem with the drug industry in the U.S. And so that's what happened in this case. Do I know that the vaccine caused this child's injury? I do not. Does this guy know the vaccine didn't cause this child's injury? No, he does not. Neither of us know because the company isn't really disclosing enough information for somebody outside to know. And so that's one of the many problems. And that's one of the many reasons people in the United States are so suspicious of vaccines and of Big Pharma. And they should be. They're not getting the full story here.
Well, and you make the point, Alex, that if these companies are good at one thing, it's about designing trials that give them the result that they want. And so the fact that this went so poorly, and you mentioned, a kid probably died from it. That's what your findings seem to suggest. But there was tons of other side effects and abnormalities that were also detected. I got to take a quick break, tell you guys about Good Ranchers, more with Alex Berenson in the next segment. But if you are anything like me, this holiday season, you want to give a gift that actually means something. Not another sweater or a pair of socks that's just going to end up in the trash. You want to give something what people will remember. Because when you give a Good Ranchers gift, you're not just sending America's best meat, which you are. You're bringing people together. The moment that box shows up, a story begins, somebody preheats the skillet, and before you know it, people are laughing, talking, gathering around the table, sharing memories. That's what makes Good Ranchers so unique. Plus, every box is filled with high-quality, 100% American-raised beef, chicken, or pork, or seafood, all sourced from local farms and ranches, delivered right to your door. So this year, don't just give a gift, give a reason to gather. Visit goodranchers.com to start gifting. And while you're there, treat yourself with your own subscription to America's Best Meat. And when you use code KIRK, K-I-R-K, you'll get $40 off your first order. So go to goodranchers.com, promo code KIRK for $40 off your first order. Check it out. Let's get back to the table. We'll be right back.